We have to have the courage, if you will, to see it for what it is
Mm.
and to take steps toward true healing and true relationship.
How about people who were not a part of this church group? I know you already mentioned how you were taught to respond to family members who are not a part of it, which is not a correct representation of the division Jesus talks about that can come between family members. That's not what's being talked about there. That's very different. That's not us excommunicating people because they go to the church down the street instead of the church we go to. There is division that's going to naturally happen by following Christ. Division can happen. So if I'm a Christian, I'm following Christ, and I have a parent who does not and hates that I'm Christian and thinks that I'm dumb for being Christian, there's going to be division that happens because I'm going to make my decisions in accordance with my belief in Christ anyway, and we're going to have disagreement, and relationships can lose depth, and sometimes they're lost completely. So division can happen by being a Christian when everyone in our family is not also a Christian. This is not something where I have to go create and just hack people off. Now, there may be times where I do need to cut communication as a boundary for different reasons. So that can get, again, more nuanced there as well. But I just want to reflect back there. Now, with that in relation to family, did that then flow into how you were told to interact or how you were told to view anyone, related or not, who was not a part of that congregation?
The division that was within the church, where there wasn't any real connection, you had surface relationships with people, and you all try to make yourself seem more, in line than they were, at least.
Mm.
That expanded to the rest of the your relationships. And at the time, I was going to college, pursuing my undergraduate, and so I had to be around other people. I had to be in classes and doing study groups and projects and such. So I feel that that was protective for
Mm.
me, even though at the same time there's very much a I don't want to use the word spirit, but an attitude at this particular university that anything of God is obviously foolish.
Mhm.
And so it was, my faith was being attacked on multiple fronts,
Mm.
but I didn't have connection with other people in the community. I didn't have close friends, especially since I was new. I'd only been here for a couple of years by that point, and I didn't have anyone to turn to.
Mhm.
Which, if I had been here longer and had had deeper relationships, I don't know if I would have turned to them because of the teachings of that church and the exclusivity that was being explicitly taught.
Mhm.
I internally, I didn't agree with it, but looking back on my behavior at that time, withdrawal and such, even though I told myself that I don't buy into this attitude, it still affected how I acted.
Mhm.
And that is the pernicious aspect of false teachings, is that even if you try to take that thought captive, to paraphrase Paul, you end up being influenced by it to some degree or another.
Mm. I can definitely see how that proved true. And I can see how it's proved true for, oh my goodness, so many of us who have had similar experiences. I very much appreciate your point that even if you had had strong external relationships, it's unlikely that you would have turned to them because of that indoctrination of who they were and how to really not value what they had to say. And it's a tough place, those of us who love someone who is in a group where those are the kinds of beliefs that are being taught and practiced. It puts us in a tough spot because we can feel like no matter what we say, it's not going to weigh anything. Like it's not going to carry any weight in the conversation. And so when Be Emboldened comes alongside someone who is in that position, we talk about how do we show love well? How do we engage in all ways possible and not just focus on our fear for them and what we're gonna ultimately what we wanna say because it can just shut them down and then
Mhm.
they don't communicate it with us at all. And so how do we really love well and try to keep the door open for relationship while still having integrity? And it can be a tough line to walk. It absolutely can be done though. So I understand what you're saying. I had many people, and also we can just hide stuff. And when we're the people in it. So, I would filter so much out. I mean, people I had friends outside of the group, but they had no idea what was going on inside the group because I just didn't share that information because I knew that they wouldn't receive it well, so I just hid it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons anyway. I had other things going on, other factors, but that would be one of them.
Yep. And there comes a point where you doubt whether anyone will believe you because you don't
Mm,
even know if you believe it yourself. Uh,
right.
this can't be happening.
Mhm,
Why would this be happening to me? This happens to other people. This happens in other
mhm,
communities, and it's like human trafficking. It happens in every community, and
mhm,
we have to have the courage, if you will, to see it for what it is
mhm,
and to take steps toward true healing and true relationship. Um, and that's very hard.
mhm. It is very hard. And yet it's accurate. It's a more accurate way of living. So to be able to see what's really going on and what's true and what the truth is. And so, but I don't say that lightly because yeah, anytime we come to realize something, we see a spot that was a blind spot and now isn't. Again, it comes that comes at cost. Now, there's also I think a lot of benefit there. There's a lot of reward to be had as well, but also does come at cost. And so grief is always a part of this conversation.
It's true.